right, great. Well, first question I'll pose to the panel. What criteria would you use to choose where to spend marketing dollars for new technology companies?
So I am one of those. Spiceworks is 2 years old, a little over 2 years old. We incorporated. We're venture backed by Austin Ventures, so we did get some good cut Series A and now Series B funding, but still, obviously, have to conserve that cash very carefully. And so, probably before we even launched our product, we spent 6 months building the business model. The marketing plan was inextricably part of that, and really focused on how we were going to measure results, which for us was user acquisition. So we're in a market of about 4.5 million IT professionals, and we want to get as many of them as possible using the least expensive experiments we could run across every property. So this was Google down to various properties to doing events, the whole works. And then that pretty quickly, after the research we did, helped validate all of the assumptions, and then we could decide how to scale that. And so we got a good jump start using paid methods. And then once we built the user base, it was really, okay, what are other ways that we can get them involved in word of mouth and so forth. And so, my takeaway from there is just, hopefully you can build in your plan some level of experimenting across as many properties as possible, do lots of $1,000 to $5,000 tests if you can, depending on what your budget is, and see results, and then build the model going forward.
I'm going to try to tie it into, as it relates to guerrilla marketing, because there's a lot of criteria in choosing your overall marketing, and this is not to say traditional marketing doesn't go away. Word of mouth helps drive traditional marketing. You still have to do it, but guerrilla marketing sometimes happens by accident, or it just comes upon you. But this is a cheap cowboy hat. I want to tell a story about this. This was early in our company. We were trying to educate the market about user-generated content and reviews. And we were at a show with about 300 people. And there was a dinner at a Hard Rock hotel in Florida, and the dinner place had a bull ride, a mechanical bull in the middle. And, the mojitos were flowing, and, so we're having mojitos, and I'm sitting across from one of our clients, and I said, I'll give you $20. No one's getting up on the mechanical bull, right? And just back up, we do ratings and reviews, so it's 1 to 5 star. We put ratings and reviews on sites like Walmart and so forth. So anyway, this client from Goldsmith, I said, get on the mechanical bull. I'll give you $20. So no way. And that just sparked an idea. Here I am in a crowd of 300 of my prospects, and they don't really know a whole lot about us. They don't know why review is important. So we had a little bit of a credibility and education and awareness problem. So I went up to the director of the shop.org, and I said, I will sponsor that bull for $500. And he said, sure, it's free money. We already paid for it, so yeah, we'll take it. And what I did is I grabbed the microphone from, they have an MC, and I grabbed the microphone from him, and I said, we are going to do a Bazaarvoice bull ride contest. And we're going to everyone's going to rate the bull riders on a scale of 1 to 5. And so I sort of tied in the whole concept of the 1 to 5 stars. The other thing I wanted to do, this was the first night, is I wanted to create conversations for the next day. So I said, whoever wins gets another $200. So the total cost was supposed to be $700. You'll see it turn into $900 in a second. And so, they handed out these hats. I wore this hat. Every person who rode the bull got to wear the hat. And, I had 3 mojitos in me, so I'm a lot more animated than I am now, and just got the crowd going, and there was a line for the bull ride. And what I did is say, everyone vote for the bull ride, 1 to 5 star. Everyone hold up their hand. And so I just sort of judge the crowd and say, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, whatever, and then come up with an average in my head. Very expensive. Called 3 mojito math. And so we went to 30 people, and there were 2 ladies. We had a write-off, and so they both won $200. They tied. But the end result the next day is everyone's talking about the Bazaarvoice bull ride and how it was created and the star concept and how that tied into reviews. But then the other thing is we had about 30 people walking around the halls with their backs killing them and bent over, so you knew who the bull riders were. But this was not something planned. It was just something that you find an opportunity and you do something that's going to stand out and have longer talk value than just that moment. You sort of look for things. Guerrilla marketing, again, getting more from every dollar. the point is that you do something and then it carries forward. And this is typically word of mouth, buzz, viral kind of things, but really you want the message with the end goal in mind. We want to talk about us, talk about reviews, talk about 1 to 5 star, but with the goal in mind, and this will be talked about the next day, so we'll have great conversations with people to sell them. And hopefully we'll be talked about at every event, because this is a small.
And I get asked that a lot from clients and prospects. How do I know, should I do a blog? Should I do a wiki? Should I do advertising? And it goes back to, I think, a number of things that you've all said, but start with the end in mind, which I think you must do. What is your objective? What are you trying to do? Sometimes we get these the buzz things going on around the latest, whether you're going to be on a Twitter feed or whether you're going to have a blog, and people start getting excited about it and thinking you must have one, everybody else has them, and is it meet your objective? Will it meet your audience? And then speaking specifically from Guerrilla, I think people often think of Guerrilla as being that you have to be a small company, but there are large organizations, and AMD has been a client of mine for a number of years, where we were able to go up head toe-to-toe with Intel, but also turning the leadership position so that it was actually AMD as being one seen as the leader. And if many of you know, when AMD came out with their 64-bit technology, Intel had decided to go a different route. And when finally AMD, it was looking like Intel was going to take the turn and follow AMD's choice for 64-bit technology, and I'm putting this in very simple terms so that everybody can understand it. We went with AMD to Intel's user forum and set up shop with AMD 64. And welcome to the world of AMD 64. And it was all over Intel's user forum. If you walked out on the street and got a cup of coffee that said, welcome to the world of AMD 64. If you were walking in the street at night, there were welcome to the world of AMD 64. It wasn't a campaign that specifically called out Intel, but everybody knew what it meant that was at that forum. And if they didn't, they were going to go to somebody to ask. So again, I think thinking what is the end in mind, we wanted people to see that Intel was following AMD at this point, but it wasn't in your face, we have to go out and tell the story. It was people coming and asking about the story.
To answer the question is honestly, in your early days, I don't care if you're bootstrapping or if you do have Austin Ventures or Seven Rosen or someone backing you up, you're going to have to just look at that money and say, this has got to last. Our capital has got to last over the long run. So in your early days, as you especially, you've got that wow moment, or the principal that you work with has that wow moment, and they know how they're going to differentiate it. They know what's better, what's different about the idea, the service, the product, whatever it may be. You know who the market is. Oftentimes you know who the competition's going to be, and you're going to know who the low-hanging fruit is, or who those prize strategic accounts are going to be. So it's not a bad thing to focus 80% of your current quarter or your current month's budget and looking at those 4 to 5 folks that you want to go out and you want to meet. And again, there are a dozen stories probably that we could tell. There are so many things that you could come up with as well once you know where your target market is. If they're attending a competitors conference, there's a wonderful way to hijack the momentum and the thunder they have there. If not, it's not a bad idea to take them to a bull riding, to a honky tonk, and do something that's so different. Probably a little blend entertainment, but while you're there doing something that's again off the wall, it's different than anything else they've ever seen. And if you can tie it together with your brand message, it's going to be all the more brilliant. But again, you're just about putting that indelible impression on them, capturing their attention, and then telling them in succinct fashion exactly why you're different, why you're better, why you're more valuable than the other options that may be.
Great.